Welcome to Around the Town with Mike. That's me, and I'm right here where I've always been, and where I'll always be. On today's episode, consequences. Hello everybody, and thank you for tuning in today where I'd like to air a gripe. Our sponsors weren't happy with the lack of advertising in last episode and are asking us to push more, as if that's what this show is about at all. It totally shows a basic lack of understanding what Around the Town really is. However, it's time for Town Time. This time, let's talk about Mundring Hills, which was settled in 1658 by John Mundring. Fun fact, it's the oldest city in Castleton County. Originally founded as a retreat for the more nature-minded people that wanted to get away from the often disease-ridden and oppressive cities. John Mundring's followers vowed to live in harmony as best they could with nature, and for over a century, they were almost entirely forgotten. It wasn't until 1768 when the county's borders began to expand on John's legacy when people rediscovered these lost settlers, which were now descendants. As expected, the clashes and skirmishes became the norm until peace was brokered by a man with a vision. In 1780, Zachariah Castleton, our county's namesake, made a deal to incorporate John's legacy into his ward. They would be required to give it an official name and become part of a larger community, but not be forced to modernize against their will. That name became Mundring Hills. Life for them was uneventful until the turn of the century in 1901. It was discovered that a cult calling themselves the Greener Glory had been forcing their way upon the residents. While their focus was to keep the hills green and glorious, they had some unsavory and highly questionable practices. The Snake Security Council was quickly dispatched to oust these residents, and the town had a power vacuum. This led to an almost overnight restructuring of their leadership, which brought Mundring Hills into the modern age. Gone were the reject society and return to nature practices. Instead, a new mantra was adopted: modernity and harmony with nature. You may have noticed this, but because of this history, the residents of Mundring Hills are environmentally conscious and nature-focused, which is why the hills are as beautiful and alive as they are today. There's a recall alert. Castleton Toys Incorporated had a mix-up with their six-sided dice. There was an issue with shipping, and they instead received Snake Biotech's surprise! It's spider eggs! Why that's a thing, I don't know. But we strongly encourage anyone who bought Castleton Toys dice to leave them in their packaging. They will be hatching soon. Snake Biotech engineers are hurriedly making house calls to reclaim the eggs before it is too late. To those of you who have opened the dice, my sincerest apologies. Remain in your homes. The flamethrower teams will be there in due time. On more uplifting notes, we'd like to congratulate... We interrupt this report with some breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the interruption, but we've just received word that Castleton County Police are moving through Plaxtonburg, heading towards Snate. It's breaking news, I have to report it. I'm not going to push an ad just before... Fine. Instead of covering breaking news, let's do advertising, because that makes sense. Voca is introducing their new line of home and office electronics, including the shown Voca DX film for their FC250 camera. For all your home video needs, check out the VidMax cassette tapes. And for your conference calls, Voca has the new Desk Wedge hands-free home system. You can find all of these at... You know what? I can't do this. Let's return to the breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for that, but let's get right back to the breaking news. Here you can see an aerial photograph of the convoy as they head through Plaxtonburg. Now, if we can go to the map, you will see the path they are taking is towards the wall of Snate, but not towards the security checkpoints. We've marked those with X's. Now, the only thing across this wall is the advertising and commercial district of Snate, the only district that brings in money, mind you, from outside of Snate. That's highly perplexing. What the Hans? Ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed a document that states that this is indeed a police raid on the SNATE Advertising Consortium. Apparently, they have been funneling money from WEET's ad revenue to fund more experiments in SNATE, which we have massively seen increase over these past weeks. While this may come as a surprise to some, we knew something was slightly off, especially moments ago when I had to interrupt this broadcast. Somebody knows something is happening. More on this as the story grows. Money isn't everything. Improve yourself and the rest. Hey, what are you doing? Put that down. That's not. Ladies and gentlemen, an unknown force has entered the building and has begun taking our equipment and escorting us out of the building. We need to leave, but I will be back. WEET will recover from this. We will be back. It's dog.